What is up, everybody? It's your boy Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and today we are going to be reviewing Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Now, this one was rather interesting because this is kind of the before the reset of DC, so there's some stuff going on, but there's also some of it might not matter, some of it might matter in the after credits. We'll get into that. But yeah, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. The expectations were a little low, but I think they delivered a solid enough movie to keep it going. And after the Black Adam ordeal, let's just hope Shazam sticks around. So let's dive right in. We start off in a museum and we see Kalisto and Hespera. And obviously they come up and they want to see the artifact, and then they end up taking it, of course, to get the movie going. Then we see Shazam. It's our first look at Shazam, Zachary Levi, and he's sitting down at what seems to be a therapist's office at first, and then we slowly realize it's a pediatrician's office, and he's in there because Billy Batson said, hey, go to this doctor, he's pretty good, because, you know, Billy Batson's a child. But he's sitting there, he mentions how he's not as cool as Flash, or Batman, or Aquaman. No mention of Wonder Woman or Superman yet. Now, they mention Wonder Woman a bunch later on, but we will get into that. Then we go to the foster home. We see a young Billy and Freddie, and their foster dad says, why does the house keep getting struck by lightning? And obviously because Shazam! Then we see a woman jamming out in her car on the bridge to the song Hero, and of course the bridge starts to collapse. And who saves her? The hero. And Shazam makes fun of it. He's like, wait a minute, I'm saving you as this song is playing? What are the chances? And then Shazam saves the woman from going over, and he says, alright guys, he's talking to the team, we have to keep this bridge intact. Then about 5 seconds later, a news story. The bridge did indeed collapse, of course, so they tried. Didn't really work. Then we go back. The foster father is starting to slowly realize that the kids might be onto something. So he goes to check, and they're in their room somehow. They're in different places at once. I don't know how that works. Shazam pokes fun at Wonder Woman for having another job. He's like, you think Wonder Woman just has another job that she goes to during the day, and then is Wonder Woman by night? Which she does. Yeah. Then we meet the Wizard, who is forced to say Shazam by Hespera and Kalisto. So then we go back to school. We see Freddie is getting beat up by some bullies, but it does wonders for my man Freddie because he ends up meeting a girl out of it named Anne. It's kind of awkward. And then they eventually introduce each other. Then we cut to a scene of Shazam and Wonder Woman having dinner. We can clearly see it's Wonder Woman from the back. We don't see her face until the very end. And then something like right out of a horror movie, we see Wonder Woman's face, and the Wizard is on Wonder Woman's body. And even Shazam was like, whoa, like terrified. Yeah, I don't blame you one bit. We see the only slight reference to Superman that anyone would say by name. Freddie shows Anne the day they ate lunch together from the after credit from Shazam 1, where you don't even see Superman's face. That's the only slight reference to Superman. I have a feeling we won't be getting some for a while. Then we see that Pedro has a lair, you know, of course. Billy says he can have Anne meet one of them, and Freddie shows up, and then Freddie gets taken hostage. Billy has to try and go out, and then Hespera and Kalisto put the dome on Philadelphia. Major plot. So Billy is trying to save Freddie. And we find out that Anne, quote unquote, is really named Thea, and she is the third sister of Hespera and Kalisto. That's right. Swerve! While Freddie's being held hostage, Freddie calls her a liar, and you can tell she feels pretty bad about it, like legitimately bad. And they try and get the names out of Freddie of the other Shazams. It doesn't work. Freddie's staying pretty strong. They see Thea and Freddie still have a connection. Even the Wizard's like, ugh. Billy meets Hespera at like a random dive joint, and yeah, he said he's seen all the Fast and Furious movies. And if he's learned one thing from those movies, it's all about family. Nothing happens. And that's funny because Helen Mirren was in the Fast and Furious movies. And then they show up late, of course. Eventually, they get their cue. But they get beat up. It was all part of it. They beat up Hespera for like a second, and then she comes back and owns them. But then they get Hespera, and they take her through like a magical porta potty. And then Kalisto goes in there to check, and it's just some random guy in there. But of course, Hespera does indeed escape. Then we see Freddie and the Wizard trying to escape because Thea gave them the right of way. And Hespera comes back with a golden apple. That's a major point here. Freddie somehow sneaks around the sister's lair. I don't know how they didn't see or hear him. He gets the apple, but then when he's trying to escape, he falls. And then Billy saves him right there. And then Freddie gets his powers back. Billy and the Wizard said they have a lot to talk about because of the Wonder Woman thing. And then Kalisto summons the dragon. Dun dun. The Philly Fiascos tell their parents who they are. And they're like, what? And then the Wizard's in there, and it's just, yeah. And then Mary loses her powers trying to take the golden apple. Billy saves her while she's falling. And then this is really cool. The dragon eventually lands on Citizens Bank Park. That's where the Phillies play baseball. It destroys Citizens Bank Park and the town. Looks like after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Haha. Then out of the chaos erupts a bunch of different creatures. Billy wonders what is going on and says she's been around for 1,000 years and kisses Freddie. A little weird. And then the father just goes, well, that's suddenly inappropriate. And that's going to be a running theme later on. So Billy becomes a normal kid again to show his stepmom what he looks like. And he finally calls her mom. And it's a whole nice moment. And then the father slowly realizes that's why the house keeps getting struck by lightning. It took him like the whole movie. He's like, oh. The dragon turns on Hespera. Hespera is dead. For now. Then Kalisto turns Anne human, Thea, so she can't do anything. Kalisto's going crazy. We have Shazam vs. Kalisto, but then we cut to the kids trying to get a unicorn, and Skittles was a very pivotal point in the movie. Skittles make the unicorn nice. Yeah, that was a whole crazy thing. And then they use the unicorns to take down the evil creatures. Anne and the cops try and take down the dragon. Both fail miserably. The dragon is about to eat Anne and Freddie. Of course, Shazam saves the day. Hespera takes down the dome and puts Kalisto and Billy in it. So everybody else is out. It's just them two. That's what Shazam wanted. He said his family was out of there. If they could live a happy life and he has to die, so be it. So of course, Billy defeats the dragon and Kalisto. They're gone. All the bad creatures snap away, kind of like in Infinity War. That's not the only Avengers reference we get. But Freddie finds Billy, and Billy's not waking up. And you think he's going to pop up. And nothing happens. And then eventually they cut, and they bury Billy, and it's like, there's only one way to bring him back, the wizard says, and it's got to be a god to do it, and there are no more gods around. Everyone's like, oh, until we hear, oh, there's one more. Cue Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot is actually in the film, briefly, but she's in it. I'm so happy to see her back. I hope this means she's back for good, because I think she's a great Wonder Woman. And yeah, so she summons, Billy comes back up, and then Billy's happy, everybody's happy. Then Billy realizes it's Wonder Woman, and he's like, oh, he's trying to get with her, and she's like, yeah, no, not happening. And then Rosa, the stepmom, is like, what is with our boys and liking older women? Because Freddie with Theo, who's 6,000 years old. Funny joke, of course. So then, the end of the film, we see them having the family dinner. Anne says she's taking time off. Then the doorbell rings, and we see the wizard, and he's looking good compared to what he was earlier in the film. He's all dressed up, he's shaven. He says he wants to see them before he turns to ash. They're like, what? He's like, I'm just kidding, I have an Uber waiting outside. And Billy goes, wait, what's my superhero name? And just like the end of Black Adam, hate to mention that, the wizard says, Shazam, and they go, oh, of course. And Freddie goes, I think we could beat that. End of movie. Cut to the mid-credit scene. We see Amelia and Economos walking from Peacemaker. Merging. I love it. Then they see Billy, and he's doing whatever at the gas station. And they ask him if he wants to join the Justice. And he says yes. 100 times yes. Because he thinks they're going to say Justice League. He says, and Amelia goes, okay, you're in the Justice Society. He goes, wait, what? He's like, that's confusing. Why do you have Justice League and Justice Society? So he pulls out his phone. He goes, how about the Avengers Society for a name? I like that. And that's the end of the mid-credit scene. And Shazam and Peacemaker, I gotta say, I'm all for. That would be hilarious. So then we go to the post-credit scene. We see Dr. Savannah, the villain from Shazam 1. He is in prison. And we see him greeted by a talking worm. Now, I'm not a comic book fan, so I did not get this. I had to look it up. But the worm says, it takes time, Doctor. Patience. Our plan is coming. That plan is the society. This could lead to the monster of Society of Evil. That's a whole group of Shazam, and it seems like they're trying to take Shazam down. And that's the after credit. It seems like it's setting up Shazam 3, even though Shazam 3 didn't do too hot at the box office. But I think Shazam will be back one way or another. I think James Gunn knows what he's doing with this. And they wouldn't do the whole Peacemaker thing if they had no plans to bring him back. I hope. But then again, we had Black Adam vs. Superman. Another story for another time. But that is Shazam, Fury of the Gods. 7 out of 10. I'll give it. It did have some slow points. It did lack at some points, but I did overall enjoy it. It's not like I hated it. The real reset of the DC is going to be The Flash in June. But if we can have this Shazam around, I'm all for it. That is Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I want to do a special shout out to my friend Jackie, who is stepping in to edit this movie while my editor, Ryan Keys, is on a vacation. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jackie. We met at Monster Mania Con for those. So yeah, good people Jackie is. But make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you give me a subscribe. Those go a long way, folks, and there's plenty more to come. Now, I do want to say this. I have a John Wick review coming soon. And then, April 7th, 2023, will be 30 years to the day of one of my favorite movies of all time. If you know me, you know what it is. The Sandlot. So I will be doing a special 30-year review to the day coming out on my channel, April 7th, 2023. But until then, I'm Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one. Later!